Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Jeff. I'm here working on some Alexa stuff today, and I need a better intro. Like, I gotta have some news or something interesting to say to all of you as we get started on these things. But for this morning, I haven't been on in a couple days. I missed Monday and Tuesday. I've had a bunch of meetings, bunch of crazy stuff happening at work, and so I've been pretty busy, and I'm glad to be on here this morning. So I expect I'll probably be here tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, but we'll see how all that goes. But for now, we're here and we're working, and so we'll just get right into it. If I do that, boom. Okay. I haven't memorized my buttons yet, but welcome to the three of you that are already here. So we're working on this big Alexa skill, and I have this long to-do list of things. Most of them say APL, right? Like that's a big piece of this, and I'm not going to be working on APL today, but I thought we could knock a couple of things off of our to-do list, and as we do that, we'll probably come up with a couple of other things that need to be done. So good morning, A. Witters. Good morning, Kevin Evans. I'm also very excited because today is baseball card release day. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure everybody knows at this point. Good morning, Dana. I'm a baseball card collector. I have far too many of them on my desk actually right now. I need to box all those up and put them somewhere. But today is baseball card release day. So Topps, the primary baseball card company, they release cards. There's a number of sets and series and everything. And so kind of the first set of the year every year is their flagship product. It's just Topps Baseball. And Series 1 of that comes out today. And so I have a box of cards coming, and I'm going to be ripping those open. I know, Kevin, I asked you about whether I should rip them on camera or whatever, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to, like, I want to open them today, but I don't know that I have time to open them on camera today. That takes more time and deliberation and, like, dedicated moments. But I have other stuff coming throughout the year, so I'm going to think about how I might want to do that going forward. But that means those are going to arrive right around noon today. And so my expectation is that I will probably be ripping some packs while I'm on some conference calls, or I'll have to wait until after. But I've got meetings until 7 p.m. tonight for work, and then after that I have I help run a conference called Stir Trek, and our team meeting is on Wednesday nights at 8:30. So there's not a lot of windows today. So I'm going to do my best to figure out how to handle this. Part of me, the responsible adult part of me, is like, well, then just do it tomorrow. But I can't wait. I can't do that. So we're going to rip some cards today at some point. But that's for another time. For today, what I thought I would do is, we can close this to-do list down a little bit, is that I left myself this note. Make sure that your list of voices in the interaction model matches the entire list here. So the first thing to do anytime we do something like this, let's see if we can find, yeah, there we go. What do you mean something went wrong? Let's try that again. What if I refresh my page? Oh. How did I do that over here? Okay, so this is my skill, which I thought had an icon, but that's all right. And we're going to go to test, and I just want to show you how it works today. So I can say Open Voice Developer, for example.
Hello, and welcome to Voice Developer. This skill can give you information and answers about Alexa skill development.
We'll just change the voice.
The voice is now set to Brian. You can always change it back to Alexa's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What should we do now?
Now with Brian, one of the things that annoys me about Brian is that he talks too slow. I like him a little bit faster. I'm not going to worry about it for now, but I wanted to show you just the fact that I can change the voice. So now that we've done that, let's go back to let's start with our model, and let's take a look at the voices that we have in here. So I think it's like around here somewhere, maybe here. So we have this nice long list of values. Now what I don't think I've done, part of me wants to just test all the voices and make sure that I have the right list. So let's see why I left myself that note. So if I go to, let's just close all, start over. So we want the poly voice intent. This says make sure you check this out. So if I look at this reference, we may have already done this, but like Conchita is ESES. Here's another struggle that I have, and maybe we should just do a little exploration as we do this. These are the English American ones, right? So I was able to do Brian, though, which is ENGB. And he speaks English just fine, obviously. And if I were to do a DT, so if we go back to our testing tool, go back here, change the voice to a DT. That should also work.
Achievement unlocked. You changed the voice to a DT. You have earned 1 point. The voice is now set to a DT. You can always change it back to Alexa's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What would you like to do next?
So that all looks good. And then let's try something that's a little different. So let's change it to like French, Celine. So if we say change
Achievement unlocked. Undefined, you have earned 1 point. The voice is now set to Celine. You can always change it back to Alexa's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What should we do now?
I mean, it's not ideal, but it doesn't sound bad. It sounds like a French person speaking English. So I feel like that's okay. Where I wonder if this falls down, and this is the thing that I'm torn on, is that in my model, let's go back down to that. If I go to my model and I look at all these voices, they're all here. This is all the voices that I have available to me. And even when I'm using voices that have different language models, I mean, the way that this is supposed to work is that if I want to use, for example, if I want the Brian voice, it's supposed to use this language tag also. You can see the lang ENGB here. But I'm not actually doing that. And so I wonder if I need that. Where this becomes trickier is where you have, when you're mixing languages inside a skill. So this says, welcome to Ride Hailer, and then Celine says, bienvenue à Ride Hailer, or however she would say Ride Hailer in French. So by adding this, you're telling it, hey, I'm giving you French. And I won't be doing that. And I think you can even mix and match these. So like I could take Celine and say, hey, I'm giving you Spanish. And then you have a French person that's trying to speak Spanish. I don't think I get any errors for this stuff And that's probably something that I should be conscious of as we go to more languages with this skill. But initially, this skill is just going to be the English language. So I feel like I'm okay. What does Mizuki sound like, the Japanese voice? Let's see if I say change.
Achievement unlocked. Undefined you have earned 1 point. The voice is now set to Mizuki. You can always change it back to Alex's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What can I help you do next?
Very interesting. I mean, it's doing a decent job of pretending to be someone that speaks Japanese speaking English. It's a weird twist. But I also noticed that I have some undefined achievements, so I want to take a look at that too. So if we look at our achievements, did we only set up some of the voices? Mizuki. Oh, I just haven't filled these in. Oh, okay, we can do that. Let's change. You've changed the voice to. Take that, and we'll just fill these in. Nope, that's not what I asked for. Carla. Stop. Change the voice to Celine. Chantal. Giorgio. Lupe. Marlene. We also don't know how we say the difference between them. Like, how do I say Matthew? I wonder if it'll work. I'll try to speak to that and see if we get a difference. Mia, Miguel, Mizuki, Penelope, Ricardo, Takumi, okay. All of those are in there now. That's better. We have so many more achievements to add to this skill too, but that's also probably for another time. So it looks like I have Victoria in there, right? Yeah. So I have all the achievements. That's good, and we can see. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to add. I should add that to my to-do list. Is a way for you to like find out how many achievements you have and what the scoreboard is. Let's add that in here to like index. This should be add an intent. Maybe we'll do that today. That lets you check your achievement score and your position on the leaderboard. Good morning, AJ. How are you? Okay. Good. So we have our achievements. We have our voices working. So I can get rid of that one on the poly voice intent. Make sure that the list of voices in the interaction model. I think we're good on that. I must have done that before and just didn't delete the comment, but that's always good to know. I don't have any other stuff. One of the other things that I could do at least temporarily is show the simple card stuff. So we could say something like that, and then it would just be voice name I don't really want, well, I guess I could do the whole thing. That seems like too much, though. I think we could do this another way, where it just looks kind of clean. Voice name equals something like that. Well, let's just see what that looks like. I think I'm going to need more. I think I want more than that, but let's get our debugger rolling. And then we should be able to say, change the voice to Brian.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
What are you talking about?
Please try again.
SpeechCon is not defined. On poly voice intent, line 44. Ah, right here. Why did I leave that? Can I do this? This would be kind of cool. Let's try that. Change the voice. Change the voice to Brian.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked. Please try again.
Session attributes is not defined. Oh, do I do that? I do that in the function. Well, we can solve that too. This doesn't need to be here. This could be very top of the page where I usually put it. Okay, how about now? Change the voice to Brian.
The voice is now set to Brian.
Yeah.
You can always
Happy
change it
wants to know
back
if
to
this is a new
Alexa's
edition.
voice by saying, change the voice to normal.
I've had
What
these
would you
glasses for a
like
few
to do
years.
next?
I've had these glasses for a few years, but I find, so the big thing for me is that I have two monitors, and what would be an easy, is there an easy way for me to share this? I don't think there is. I have this huge monitor sitting here in front of me. It's probably a 32, nice curved monitor, good for gaming and all that stuff too. And then I have a teleprompter. The teleprompter is maybe a 12-inch monitor, and then it's reflected in a mirror to shine at me, and the camera sits behind it. So like when I'm talking to the camera, I actually have a monitor that I'm looking at, so I can see myself, or I could see like a transcript if I needed to like say specific words or whatever. All of that is sitting here behind the camera. So like literally there's a mirror right here. And what I found is that I have on the teleprompter right now, I have my broadcast, so I can see like what's on the, I can make sure the screen looks right and all those things. And as well as the comments from the chat. And I can't make the comments any bigger font-wise. So sometimes I have trouble, like it's a little squinty, but it's only because they're kind of small and far away. Everything else that I'm doing here I could do without glasses on, but I've been putting the glasses on because that's so much better. I can read the comments better. So it's really just to serve all of you that I'm wearing these glasses. But I'm not really a glasses or contacts wearer. I'm 46 years old, never really needed them. But it makes things a little bit crisper, but not enough to like really justify wearing glasses all day. But it is father time. By the time I'm 50 for sure, I'll probably be wearing glasses all the time. But what we wanted to see was this. That's close. That's close. Man, it just makes those cards so big. I'll bet it looks the same here. Alexa. Oh, wrong device. Alexa, quit.
You want to exit, right?
Yeah, I do. Yes. Okay. Let's unmute this one that you can actually see. Alexa, open Voice Developer.
Welcome to the Voice Developer. Another thing I can do is play speech cans, like this, Bazinga. Just ask me to say a speech can. What would you like to try?
He can't say that. Change the voice.
I don't have a record for can't say that. My apologies. I'll do some research. What can I help you do next?
Change the
What can I help you do next?
change the voice to Vicky.
Achievement unlocked. You changed the voice to Vicky. You have earned 1 point. The voice is now set to Vicky. You can always change it back to Alexa's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What should we do now?
Stop.
Ciao ciao, brown cow.
Okay. So the first thing I noticed is that I need quotation marks, but I think the other thing is, I wonder if I want to put like 3 dots here just to show you that like that's where your content goes. I don't know the best way to demonstrate that, but if I try this again.
The voice is now set to Brian. You can always change it back to Alexa's voice by saying, change the voice to normal. What should we do now?
Is that a decent way to communicate that? Like if you saw this on your device, would this mean to you like, oh, I see, I put my speech in here and then I can just wrap it with Brian? I think one of the other things that I want to do, this is kind of a cleverness, I think, to how we're handling this, is that when I come in here, I know what your current voice is. I think I do. And so what I could do is wait to change it. Like, let's see, what did it say here? It said, the voice is now set to Brian. You can always change it back. No, I probably should just do it that way. I was thinking it would be neat for the old voice to say like, okay, I'm going to change the voice to Brian, and then it changes, so you hear like the transition in the statement, but that could get pretty tricky logic-wise, especially when if I had a voice name for every voice, that would be great. But if you're going from Alexa to something else, now I've got to write a bunch of logic to say, oh, if they haven't selected a voice, then I've used the Alexa. It's just too complicated. I think this is fine. So this is also a card. I think this shows up in my Alexa app, and this is I'm really trying to be good about supporting this feature, even though that's probably not something that people will see a ton. Yeah, and that looks good there. Okay. Oh, that's also interesting. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll go to the camera. So this is the cards that I'm receiving. You guys can see that, yeah. And so you can see that in the title there, it says SSML voice tag for Brian or SSML voice tag for Vicky. And the Vicky name has a first letter caps and all lowercase otherwise. If we look at this one, this is a different treatment of the same input. So I think for what I'm doing here, I want to set that to uppercase because I think I would like it to be all uppercase no matter what. And I don't think basically on an Echo Show screen when it shows a card, I don't think that I have a way to make this lowercase, this Brian here. All right. Well, I think that's fine. One of the other things that I'm going to do, I haven't had this conversation with them yet, but on our office hour shows, occasionally we have Karthik and Kai Lurch that join us to talk from the APL team. I think what I want to do is have them get involved in this project and come up with some really cool looking interfaces. Soundmaster, you're totally right. It's string dot to uppercase, I think, is the function. I'm just wondering if I actually want to do that. I haven't decided. I mean, I could certainly do it, right? If we just take this speech right here and just say, I think it's to uppercase, yeah. So that's done. But what I really want to do is also have APL for this that looks really nice. Maybe a block of code. But I think it would be useful, one, because it would give them something to stream. If they wanted to get on and like build a bunch of cool APL stuff, they could build it in this skill, and then they could just send pull requests and we could incorporate it. That might actually be pretty sweet. My other option is that I build, I mean, it would work the same way, but my other option is that I build a empty APL document for every one of these, and I feed it in so that all the coding is done, and then all they have to do is go in and change the APL. Because right now they'd have to go in and change the code to, like, I don't even have an APL dialog in here, so I could at least make their lives a little easier that way. And keep a separation so they can just focus on the APL side of things and not have to worry as much about. But they're going to have to do things with data and other stuff, so they're probably going to have to get into the code. Anyway, I think that's probably okay. But I think that's what I want to do, because like I'm functionally capable with APL, but I feel like they would be way more talented and thoughtful about it. And it might be a cool way to have them create some content. So yeah, let's play with that idea. Okay, so that's done. What else could I get done in here that has something good? I'm still working on this issue. I got it to work. The problem I have right now is that the access token that I generate for this stuff only lasts an hour, and there's got to be a way to have one more extended. Oh yeah, so yeah, Dana, that's a great question. I can show you how I resolve this. I still have to figure out the token part, but I can talk about what I did. There's tokens. Oh, this is perfect. It's right here. So I'm not going to refresh this page. This page has been open since we last streamed, so I haven't changed this, and if I refresh it, it will change. So I want to make sure I show you guys this. So this is creating a catalog version, right? You call this interaction model catalogs resource. This is the post that we do. This is all the stuff that I did in Zapier. In fact, if we look at this, is it in here? No, it's not in here. That's the S3 one. Where do I do the? Oh, it's this one. Okay. So in here, we call this URL, and it uses this catalog ID that I had pre-created. And so what you're actually doing is you're creating, where'd it go? You're creating a new version, and then you can load that version, and you can reload and use the same version over and over and over if you want. Because I think if I was constantly incrementing versions, unless I change something fundamentally, I feel like I would just keep using the same version over and over. Anyway, in our tech docs, we have this payload. This is what you send in. And so you say, hey, I want the catalog type to be URL. I want this URL points to my JSON document that we created on S3. And then you can have a description. So now I'm going to refresh this page. Let's do that. And what you can see is that there is a part of this that just disappeared. There was a node that surrounded everything called version data. Version data, I think, is what it was. I won't be able to go back now. But the the payload that was described here in the tech docs was actually the thing that was wrong. And so once I had to do a ton of investigation. I probably met 50 new people on the product team, moving around, talking to figure out, like, how does this work? Who owns this? Who can help me diagnose and debug what's happening here? And ultimately it was that we had this version data node in this JSON. And so once this was fixed, now it works. And the last holdup I have on this whole process is to figure out how to generate a access token, the access token that I provide here. How do I generate one that lasts? Or do I have to have a separate API call that goes and gets a new API key every time that I want to do this? Not API key, but access token. That may also be, but I can't figure out how to do that either. So that is what I need. So I don't. Yeah, Dana, I'm digging into it, but I think I'm close. Dana Voice said, "Wow, if only we could do that." Are you saying that if only you could make updates or offer feedback about the tech docs? Is that the point that you're making there when you said, "Wow, if only we could do that," or "Wow, if we could only reach out to the product team and dig in and debug an issue"? Oh, contact everyone. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I would recommend, quite honestly, is if you guys aren't doing this, if you run into an issue with something like that is documented here in our tech docs, there's a feedback tab over here. Oh, that's not ideal. Let me refresh the page. There's this feedback tab. Wow. Is that for everything? If I go like to a total different page? Oh boy. Well, anyway, there's supposed to be a form that you can fill out. Oh, Surly Dev, good to see you, man. Hello. This feedback tab here, it goes directly to whoever owns the product team, the tech doc page. And so if you were to do what I did, where you're like, hey, this payload doesn't work with this API call, that's where I started. I went to the owner of the tech doc and I said, hey, this doesn't seem to be working. It's broken. Can you help me understand what I'm doing wrong? This starts a process inside Amazon. So while you can't just like navigate the tree and find the right people and solve all your problems in an instant, and I will tell you, I had to escalate. Like I had to fight a bunch of battles. I didn't get people to respond the first time. Like it was challenging. I don't know that you would want to do that. And honestly, if we open that up to the public, that is all anyone would be doing, is just responding to that kind of interaction. So I try to limit the times that I actually do stuff like that. But now I've got to talk to the product team about the fact that their feedback form is broken. My guess is that when they create these feedback forms, they have an expiration date. That's my guess. And my guess is that this expired. Anyway. Good to see you, Surly Dev. I'm so glad you guys are all here. It's always fun to have a good conversation. But that is, Dana, that is the update to what happened late last week and early this week. And there's lots of things going on internally at Amazon. It's an exciting time. So if I jump back here, I still have the note that like I got to figure out how to do that. We have prosody rate. We have the ability to get a random speech con like celebration or disappointment. Oh, you know what? There was something I was working on. Do we have the office hours one in here? I guess I didn't list this. Excuse me. So go to the thing. Okay. So one of the other things that we had in here was the ability to allow a user to specify a date for a specific video to play. So we started this. I think if I look at my model, let's go in there, ENUS, and I look at my, right here, office hours intent, we created a slot and called date, and then when we were working on this and testing it last time, I did not have this entry. I had all of the others that have date in them, but I did not have date. And so I think I fixed that issue. If we come back here and let's do developer, that one, and then let's go into voice developer and let's look at our interaction model testing tools. So over here, now I could say February 14th. And you can see that it gives me February 14th, 2024. That's interesting. I wonder why it does that. I guess it always gives me the next one. So if I say February 25th, 2023. So interesting. It always gives me the next one. Oh, so many questions. Awesome. I've put you on my 43-inch telly. I can read the text now. Oh, awesome. Is this too small? I thought I had this blown up pretty good. This is probably a little small. Line 6, you had two specifics. The first one should have been a specify. I don't remember what file I was on. Specify. Thank you. Comments are fun. Thank you. And then, where are Alexa skills hosted when you get it working? And are they available for everyone, or can you create skills that are available just for you? This is a great question, Surly. So there's multiple answers to all of your questions. The first one was, where are they hosted? So the generic software engineer answer to this is you can host it wherever you want. That's not terribly helpful, though. So what we recommend is that you use AWS Lambda. Serverless, you can just run your code in there. It works fantastic. And if you set up your own AWS account and you set up your own Lambda, they have a free tier offering that's about 1 million invocations of your code every month is free. I don't say about it. I think it's exactly 1 million. And then I think the second million would cost you like $5 a month. If you can exceed that $1 million invocations a month, though, you've accomplished something. That's a lot of users. So you're doing well. It's not 1 million users. It just means that your code has been hit 1 million times. So if you have 200,000 users, each hit your skill, talk to your skill 5 times a month, that would be 1 million. If they do it 50 times, then that's 20,000 users, right? You can do some math to get to 1 million, but that's the idea. But it's a lot of usage. Even if you had 200 users using it 5,000 times a month, that's still pretty solid because that means you're using it a ton. And it's not just using your skill; it's like literally every time they talk to it. So you can get to 1 million, but it's usually a pretty specific accomplishment. So I want to have you not worry about costs. That's the first thing. So that's kind of the place I would recommend everybody go. But there are people that are cost conscious or don't want to set up an AWS account, or to set up an AWS account you need a credit card just to verify your profile and be able to be charged for the services you use. So Alexa also offers something called Alexa Hosted. It's setting up the same thing. You get a Lambda, you get a DynamoDB, you get CloudWatch logging, you get all the stuff from AWS, but you don't actually have to do it. And you don't have to set up an account, and there's no way to be charged for this. But with what we call Alexa hosted skills, there are limitations. At some point, if you have too much traffic, you'll get a very nice email saying, hey, you're going to need to transition off of Alexa hosted. You're using too many resources. So those are kind of the 3 options. 1, Alexa hosted. 2, AWS Lambda. 3, literally anywhere else you want. If you have a server sitting under your desk, as long as you can set up an HTTPS endpoint and you can consume and send JSON, it doesn't really matter where you host it then. I guess the only other limitation is that you can respond in under 7 seconds. So if you're putting it on an old 286 under your desk, maybe that's too slow. But in general, those are the rules for hosting. Now, the second question was, are they available for anyone, or can you make things that are just available to you? So there's some good news on this. The skill that I'm working on right now is only in development. I have not published this skill like I would with any other any other mobile app or something like that, where I have to go through certification process to make it available in the store. Alexa follows that same paradigm, but as a development skill, I can use this on my devices however long I want to without having to ever go through certification. So I have built lots of skills that are just for me, and so it's very easy to just set that up, and you can run that skill forever just for yourself. But if you want other people to use it, you have a couple of options there too. If it's someone you really trust, you could give them access by adding them as a user on your developer account, and then they could log in to their developer account or their devices and they could use your skill. It requires trust though, because it gives them access to all of your skills, all of the resources in the Amazon developer portal, and they can go in and delete things if they want. So it's only for people that you would really trust not to do that. 2, beta testing is an option. Beta testing would allow you to get it to like 5,000 people, but it's only for 90 days. It is a restricted window of time. And so that is something else to consider. And then finally, obviously, if you publish a skill, you can do things with account linking to limit who has access, in the same way that like you can log into websites with your Facebook account or with your GitHub account or anything else. You could do the same idea with a skill where you require account linking before someone could get in, and then you can limit the people that have access that way. And then, of course, there's just public, which is anybody can use this. So lots of options there as well. But yes, you could very, very much build your own skills just for yourself. You could do things that work for work or inside your VPN. The catch is that your endpoints would have to be public. Because if you're using a device, like you're actually using an Alexa device, the requirement is that your endpoint, your code, needs to live in the public internet. So there's no avoiding that. And because that service is on the public internet, it's likely that any endpoints that it wants to call, any of the services or applications that you have inside your business, those endpoints would probably also need to be on the public internet. Doesn't mean it has to be. I suppose you could have your back-end system have special backdoor or VPN access or something like that another service wouldn't. But the service that runs your skill has to be on the public internet because Alexa's going to call it, and you can't configure Alexa to call through your VPN. Yeah. Oh, and Dana said, do you see the new default of S3 where all your files are not made public? Yeah. Huge pain, but honestly, I think that there's enough people that don't pay any attention and don't realize that they are making their files public when they are, that it's a requirement. Some people don't pay enough attention. I will never say people are dumb, but sometimes it's just an ignorance of facts or moving too fast. And so I think it was done to make people safer by default. But I agree with you, it's a little frustrating. Connor Wright Kappa said, I made a skill to interact with my project so I can view stats from it, restart for updates remotely. It's really handy. Totally agree. Yeah, you can do all sorts of things like that. It's just making sure that you have the right network access to the things that you want. Surly says it has a 286 sitting under the window, not under my desk. I really do have an unused 286 in my home office at the moment, though. That's pretty funny. And I'm glad that you like the answers. Developers are often, let's get this working, we can tighten it up later. Yes, I totally agree. And Surly does, screwing it down, making it everything is the right thing to do, and thanking Amazon for that. Yeah, agreed. It's, I have the option to go and make everything public, but then I'm making that choice. And if, a lot of people do this, like they'll play around and they'll set a bucket to public, and then anything they put in that bucket in the future is public, and they don't realize that. Yeah, Connor Wright, that's exactly right. So you could have your public API, your public endpoint, then make authenticated calls into any internal communication that you need to. But it still has to have public endpoints, right, that you can call and authenticate against. It can't just be a thing that lives inside your company only with no public internet access. I've thought about subscribing to your channel. Do you need the help? You also said something about moving this to Alexa Devs. Yeah, so there is the possibility that I'm going to move over to Alexa Devs. We're having those conversations internally right now. I don't know exactly what that'll look like or when that will happen, but yes, that is kind of how I'm thinking about that. As far as subscribing goes, Dana, do I need the financial help? No. I mean, while I certainly appreciate any subscription dollars that you throw at the stream, no, I don't need that. And in fact, what I used to do, I don't have a lot of subscribers right now, but what I used to do is every month we would take any money that was made by the stream as a subscription, and we would donate it to a software development charity, if you will. And that's things like Girls Who Code or other organizations that could benefit by having this money. But I will tell you that any money that comes in as part of a subscription to this Twitch stream, I'm not keeping it. I will find a way to donate that or do something else with it. So you're not supporting me. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. It makes it helps the channel. The more subscribers you have, the more attention it can get in a lot of public forums. So I don't want to stop you from subscribing, but I don't want you to also feel like, oh, I'm giving Jeff $10 or whatever it is. I'm not keeping the money. You're basically making a donation to charity. So I just haven't been very specific about that right now. But that money will be donated. So if you feel like subscribing, it gives you access to some other things. And as we continue to try to grow all of this, I'm going to try to figure out how to give you more benefits as a subscriber. We can do, there's lots of things we can do for subscribers, like subscriber-only streams, where maybe on Fridays, or I don't know, like we could figure something out where I can lock it down and say this stream is only available to subscribers, and so then you have to subscribe to get to that one or whatever. Anyway, all things to think about. I'm really just trying to get my feet back under me with this stream, and I honestly, like, if we move it to Alexa Devs, there's a lot of benefits to me for that, which is that we can have a lot more people, Amazonian people, helping behind the scenes and helping with chatbots and interactivity and all sorts of other cool stuff. Right now, everything you're seeing is just Jeff putting stuff together. So hopefully that's a very long-winded answer to your question, Dana. But so I don't want to stop anyone from subscribing, but also know that I'm not keeping the money. I will be donating that. And we can even have a accountability check on that stuff if you want. Like we could do that, like the first stream of the month or something. We can go in, we can look at the console, see how much money the stream made, and then live make a donation someplace or something like that. So I think that would be cool. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Connor Wright. Thanks, Dana. Okay, so the thing that we were doing with office hours, if I shift my focus again, 'cause it's already 9:45. When's my first meeting today? Lots of things going on. Is that we have this office hours intent, and in here we have the date. And so I have to figure out that was the situation we were running into, is if we say play the February 14th episode of Office Hours. Really? Oh. Play the Feb 14th episode. Also didn't work? That's interesting. Doesn't get the date at all. But it knows it's the office hours intent. But if I say February 14th, you get that. And if I say February 14th, it knows that. Weird. Don't you have a skill to remind you that you have an upcoming meeting? Actually, Surly Dev, I would love to build a lot of that stuff. The problem I have is that our email is so locked down in Amazon. I don't have the ability to do any of that stuff. I probably need to change that list, Dana. The sound effects and all that stuff right now are not hooked up. That's all a chatbot engine, and Twitch turned off the capabilities for the chatbot that I had previously built that would play a sound effect and some of those things. So I'm going to have to go, one, I'm going to have to go edit that list, but two, I really want to get back to building the chatbot, because that was also a lot of fun. We kind of did that stuff on stream. I suppose I could just say I only want the month day, and I don't worry about the year as much. Play the episode from last Tuesday. That also works. So that gives me last Tuesday's episode. That's good. But the dates are working. The dates are working. We just need to catch it in the code. And so the slot is called date. So what I should be able to do, if we look at a different thing, we have spoken voice. Let's take that. Look at office hours, and we're going to have... Is this how we want to do it? I think it is. Yeah. So spoken date. And this is going to be date. And then we're going to create a new... is that what we want to do? I think that's probably right. If spoken date doesn't equal undefined, then we're going to do some... stop it. Then we're going to do some stuff. And otherwise, we're going to show them a list. Wow. So that means all of this stuff here, all of that, is going to go in my else. Okay, so if they don't give me a date, then we're going to do what I have been doing, which is show you a nice list. Have you guys seen that? I can show you that here quickly. If I just say office hours, for example.
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
And so this list even scrolls, right? So you can see the last... Now, I have to put these in the database, so that's why it's a little out of date. We're missing the last 2 episodes. But this is what the interface looks like for, at least for right now, for the office hours. And it's pulling all of that stuff out of my office hours table, all of these episodes. So... And then you can tap on any one, it'll actually play the episode. So that's what we need to do now. And we already have built all of those capabilities. So I have a user event request, and in here, this is where this isn't where I should do this. I should move this stuff out. So we can take we're just going to take all of this out, because that's not really what should happen here, and we should create a new... It's not really an intent at this point. Oh, I apologize, Malero. I just turned it down. I had that volume up because I had a guest on the other day and I could barely hear them, and so I had the volume on the computer input way up. I've just turned that down, so actually let's just test that. Let's see if that's any better. If I say office hours again, hopefully this is quieter.
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
My apologies. I didn't realize I was up so loud. So now we're in this weird scenario where this isn't an intent or a handler. This is more like just a code action. I don't really have a place for that. Where I've never had to do something like this, where basically I guess I'm going to call it a handler, but I don't love it. So we'll call this office hours play. not JSON. Rename. Okay, and then we're going to have this here. That's some code that we will run, but now we need these pieces, which are like this. So this is going to be office hours play. I'm trying to be very modular with my code so that anybody else can kind of dig through and figure out what's happening. And then down here at the bottom, we're going to need one of these and one of those. Okay, and this is going to be office hours play. And so then I need this to go into this index so that it knows it exists. Office hours play. And then right here. Okay. So office hours play now should do what the office hours thing was doing before. So we should be able to just say this. And we should be able to say return office hours play handler input. Did I break everything? Probably. Should we test it? Okay. So if I click on this, it should play the video.
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
I was afraid of that.
Please try again.
Office hours play is not defined. Oh, because it's not, it would be, oh, yeah, I've got to figure out how to do that too. See if that fixes it. There we go. Okay, so I have basically just externalized. Take care, Kevin. I have externalized the playing of a video to its own file. And now if we go to office hours play, we can just return this as an option. But what I would need to do so I'm doing it this way. Office hours play is looking for the event that comes through the handler input. I wonder if I could just, because data.getVideo, that's just calling out to the database, right? Get video calls out to the database to get all the data options. With a record ID. Now I wouldn't have that record ID. So if I wanted to do this here, office hours intent, I have the date. Then what I need to do first is find out if there's a video. I need to go. So get video is similar to what we need. Get save as. We're going to call this get video by date. And this get video by date is just going to have a slightly different query. So it's not going to be a record ID that we're looking for. I should really look at what this, if I go to Airtable, API, CodePen, this thing is awesome. And so what I want to look at is their formula field reference for date and time functions. So I don't want date. Formats a datetime into string, no. Minute, now, second, set locale, set time zone. What would I do to, like, I have a vague idea of a date. So, like, return the date and time a given record was created, no. Compares the dates and says if they're the same. But what if I say January 1st and I have two entries in my database, January 1st, 2020 and January 1st, 2021? Does that work? Let's see what we can do. So we're going to take that is same, and they'll be in quotes. So here, instead of record ID, actually we could make our lives easier if we go to the CodePen. Filter by formula is same. What's one of the dates I have in my database? January 3rd. So I'm only going to put January 3rd in there because they're taking. Yeah, let's just try that. So this is going to be January 3, and this is going to be the table name, table column name, published. What is the unit? This seems like it's it, right? So if I say unit day, I don't know, let's see. So instead of that, we'll just say day. We'll take this into our code. And instead of that piece there, we're going to do this piece here. But not like that, because we want URL encoding. So we're going to say this is same. Like so. And so I'm going to go off screen here just for a second because we're going to play with some API stuff. But the easiest way for me to do this is just to tweak a URL. But that requires API keys and stuff. So I'm just going to go off screen for a second. And we're going to try calling var video equals data.get video by date. I suppose if I'm going to do this, I should do all the right things. Get video by date. I'm getting get video by date registered into the Node app so that it knows get video by date. So it knows that function exists, so I can call it. So there's no exciting coding happening here, I promise. Get video by. Okay, that fixed everything. Okay, so I have my function. I now have a call to my function somewhere. And get video by date. So if I come over to my interface and I say January 1st,
Jeff, I had trouble doing what you asked.
I know.
Please try again.
Oh, date's not even defined. So we'll just put. Because it doesn't even matter yet. January 3.
There was a problem communicating with the requested skill.
How bad did I break it? All right, let's look at that URL and just see. Invalid filter by formula, and I can already see what it is. What am I doing wrong here?
From fandom.com. January 3rd was the third day of an Earth year.
Welcome to the Voice Developer. Did you know I can
There was a problem communicating with the requested
And
skill.
this is a big error when it kicks me out of the skill. Is that what I'm doing wrong? What if I just change it to that? Sorry for the slowness here. This is supposed to be easy, and I'm not making it easy.
From fandom.com. January.
Welcome to the Voice Developer.
There was a problem communicating with the requested skill.
I can't even tell where this error is happening. Cannot read properties of undefined. Oh, but I have left the skill. Office hours intent, line 53. Oh. I see. All of my errors so far have been because I tried to add a directive, but didn't actually provide a directive. Dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. So let's try that one more time.
This is Voice Developer. By the way, I can give you. This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
Okay, that all worked. Now let's see if we got any data. Still no. So I have to figure out how to query this database in a way that brings me back records based on only month and year. Well, okay, so we could do this. Let's try this another way. What if I say January and then do the same thing, like multiple calls, right? 3 published day. Maybe this does it. Okay, so in the get video by date, filter by formula, we're going to take this is same. I promise I'll bring this back on screen in just a second. I just want to see if I can get this working. January 3rd. Whoa. Stop it. January 3rd.
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
Still no? Alright, well, I'm going to have to figure out how to query this, but I feel like we got ourselves in a good position. So let me close out the trouble browsers that will give things away and clear out a debug console. Stop publishing the URL. Okay. And we're back. Okay, so what I was doing was trying to play with this query here. And what I was trying is it the same? And so I said, if January is the month and 3, this 3, is the day, actually this is probably easier to see on CodePen. So I was saying if January in the column published is the month and 3 is the day in that column. But I think the last thing I can try here is that I have this text operators and functions. Is there just an is same? Is error not switch true? Min, mod, power, no math stuff. So I have day and I have month. So I should be able to say if I thought there was like a compare or a yeah, it's this. So there's this if statement where it returns but didn't I just have like a simple if up here? I just wonder if we could do something like if 3, what was the expression for this? If 2 equals 2, then it returns true. So if 3 equals day published. Is that how the format was? For day, date and day. So you put a string in there like that. So day should work. And then I have the same thing for month. Is there like an and expressions? Is there like an and? And. Oh, I already have my and. Okay, so the and is already here. So here we're going to say if this, and if basically I'm going to say, I'm going to have to convert that to a number, but that's fine. If that equals month published, then we could take this like that, and then take this, put that into some code. It's not as same. We're not going to do a same. We're going to do this. Let's see if that works. Okay, one more try, and then that's probably going to be it. January 3.
This is the office hours intent.
Well, it didn't
This
break.
is the action query.
I didn't actually write anything out for myself, though. So, if I come back to user event request, no. Office hours intent. Should be able to set a breakpoint right here. No? No? Go away. Let's try that one more time. January 3.
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
And one more time.
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
You got me nothing. You got me no values. So that still didn't work. And get video by date is hard coded right now for day and month. That shouldn't be that. Should it?
This is the office hours intent. This is the action query.
And that column is called published. Weird. Have I mentioned on this stream before how much I love doing date time math? It's the best. All right. Well, I'm going to have to figure out, because I have to do this all off camera to really play with their API and push my API keys through and all that stuff. So I'll play with this on my own and see. I'll have this fixed before tomorrow morning. But that's very annoying. I thought this was going to be much easier. All right. Well, I want to thank the 11 of you for tuning in and watching and hanging out. We went an hour 20 today. That's pretty good. And we made it. We made it 80 minutes before Jeff got frustrated. Maybe that's what this show should be called. So I'll come back to this. I'll have it ready for tomorrow morning, and we'll be able to search for a video by date, which should be way cooler. Anyway, that is it for me today, everybody. I will see you tomorrow morning. Take care.